that kitchen table?
I talk about this journey like climbing Mount Everest. You start, not that I've ever done that, by the way, but what I've heard about climbing Mount Everest is that you start out at base camp and then you hit these summits along the way. And everybody starts out the journey ready, They think, I'm gonna make it to the top. And then you start the climb, and some people are ready for it and some people aren't. And it's surprising that you learn along the climb who's really ready. And there are people who just emotionally, physically can't go the whole way. They run out of oxygen, They weren't fit for the climb, right? And one of the hardest things is like when you discover that, I mean, do you stop? Do you go back because there was one member that wasn't ready? Or do you keep climbing and sort of leave them where they are? And we found that that's kind of been the pattern, right?
Wow.
There are people who have been, they were built for the climb like we were, and some weren't. And I find that I talk to young people about this too, because when you're a kid coming from nothing, and I won't say that I came from nothing, but Barack nor I came from wealth or connection or fame or fortune. So we have a hodgepodge of people in our lives. And one of the toughest things is to find out that a dear friend wasn't ready for the climb. And in order to keep pressing forward, we tell young people that sometimes you gotta leave them there because you can't carry people when you're trying to get to the top. It slows you down, but there's survivor's remorse that comes with it. And I know a lot of times when I talk to kids and I see them well up, I see in them that struggle, that they've reached a point where they've left people they love behind and they struggle to figure out how to weather or how to maintain those connections, and it becomes hard and it's draining. Kids, for example, who got the opportunity to go to college when half their family isn't eating.
Yes.
Right? And they've got a student loan and they need to use that loan to pay for their books, but they're trying to send money back home to pay the electric bill. And I tell those kids, like, if you want to make it, you've got to make some hard choices about what to do with your life, or you will not make the climb yourself.
And then everyone loses.
And then everybody loses. And I think that's how we've had to look at it. We've been fortunate enough that we've had so many people who were ready for the climb. They had to adjust. They had to go back and do a little working out. But for the most part, they've made it. But for the people who couldn't, we had to leave them behind and keep climbing. And if once we made it to the top, if we could reach back and pull some others up, we definitely did that. It is one of the greatest challenges when you are pursuing a life that is drastically different from the one that you've come from.
Is there such a thing as a graceful end?
Well, it depends on who's doing the ending, right?
Yes.
Sometimes I say there's such a thing as the slow ghost, where you just sort of let relationships take their natural course. Friendships and relationships kind of tell you when they're ready.
Yeah, that's so true.
And you have to kind of listen to it. You learn as you get older. Yeah. Sometimes you held on too long. You let some, bad juju stay around too long. And as you get older, you can recognize, right? I've always approached life and friendships, and I try to tell my daughters this too, is stay open. Stay open to the possibility of people. I never want my daughters, and I never wanted to feel so high that I was closed off and suspicious, not wanting to let new people in, right? And that becomes very difficult when you're the president and the first lady. You could, close your life off so much, right? Because everyone might want something from you. But I always felt like, well, that's a loss, because if you close everybody out, then you miss some gems. We've tried to be open and find ways to let new people in our lives and develop new relationships. And what I tell my kids is trust your gut, because you'll know when people should be let out. But keep your aperture wide open. Let people in, but when they show you who they are, let them out quickly. And as the older you get, you know, it's like, yeah, this one isn't working out. So let's just cut it quick, but stay open.
And you're naturally going to make mistakes. You're naturally going to get hurt.
Absolutely.
You're naturally not going to read everyone perfectly.
So true.
That's
so true.
That's going to happen, but it's better to